Hey guys, Ty Lord here. It's budget night for me, and I have the house to myself. So I'm about to enjoy myself with a Dollar Tree nacho and movie night. I spent under $10 on this wonderful night to myself in the house. I went to Dollar Tree. This is like back in the old days. I used to make Dollar Tree nachos. And I got a movie to watch from the Dollar Tree. So all this is under $10, and I think I can get 2 meals out of this if it goes over well. My buddies were laughing at me before I had a Dollar Tree food night, and it was just total garbage. Just a bunch of frozen pizzas and frozen wings and frozen potatoes. It didn't turn out that good. I'm thinking this is going to go over a lot better because I've done it before in the past, maybe the early 2000s or late 90s when I didn't have much money. I did stuff similar to this, but so anyway, here's the nacho stuff. I got the Home Style Select tortilla chips for $1. A bag of tortilla chips for $1 is a pretty darn good deal. I don't know how good they're going to be. It's probably mostly air, like a bag of Lay's potato chips. What? 8.5 ounces. I guess that's not that bad for $1.25. It's not $1 anymore. And then we have some chili. I'm making like oki nachos. Southgate all beef chili with beans. I'm sure this is amazing. Nothing my wife can eat. It's probably made with pork. Probably quite a few calories in here. This is kind of my cheat day. I've been doing pretty good with my diet lately. And then we have some alfresco nacho cheese sauce. So hope that'll be good. That's a small container there. Might be a better deal just to get this at the store. Usual nacho cheese. And then this can of for salsa Rotel hot diced tomatoes with habaneros. I'll put that on there too. So I got my Dollar Tree nachos right there. I'm hoping it comes out really good. I'm gonna cook it in the oven. And then for drink, I got the old Arnold Palmer Light. And then for dessert, a cup of mint chocolate chip. I've had this before. It's not terrible. I mean, it's not Ben & Jerry's or anything, but as my grandma always says, it's better to have something creamy, cold, and sweet than to not, I guess. And then for the movie, this is the high octane 10 action movie pack from Dollar Tree, put out by Maverick Entertainment. The one I'm gonna watch tonight is the one I'm most interested in, Treasure Raiders there, because I like the cast up there. This guy, Alexander something or other, was in Showdown in Manila, which I liked. He's like a big buffed, like Eastern European dude, kind of like an action type guy. And then Sherilyn Fenn is in here from Twin Peaks, so gotta love that. And then, of course, David Carradine. So this must not be a brand new movie. It's got to be at least a few years old, because I think David Carradine died several years ago. But we'll check those out. I'm going to cook up these nachos, start up the movie, and have a movie night with Dollar Tree nachos. And then I'll come back with a review of the movie. Okay, so here's the nachos before I've cooked them. I like to bake my nachos in the oven. Doesn't matter really what temperature. I usually do like 400 for a few minutes just to get it nice and crispy. It tastes a lot better than putting it in the microwave. I tasted one of these chips and they taste pretty good. They like sort of like a Dorito corn chips. The chili had a good texture. It was nice and thick. The nacho cheese sauce is really runny. It's not like the kind we usually get, but I had a taste of it, and it tastes all right for toothpaste. No, it had an okay flavor. And then this diced habaneros with tomatoes. Just tastes like any old diced tomatoes with habaneros. So I'll bake that in here for a minute, and then we'll come back late to watch the movie off of the high octane action movie 10-pack from the dollar store. So about 10 minutes later or so, I cooked them. They don't look as good as before I put them in. Looks like the nacho cheese just got absorbed by the chili. That doesn't say anything about the taste, though. We'll go watch the movie with our Arnold Palmer light tea, and then I'll be back to talk about the movie. Yeah. Okay, all done watching Treasure Raiders. Before I get to that, the nachos I made were decent. I mean, I've had worse. It takes me back to when I was a kid, just our low budget nachos, or when I was in a community college and a pizza delivery driver. And when I wanted cheap food that was tasty, I would make those chili bean nachos. I think everyone's done that. So they were pretty much no different than anything else. The cheese sort of disappeared into the chili. It had an okay flavor, the chili. The diced tomatoes and jalapenos, I think I should have added some tapatio sauce or Valentina sauce because I couldn't really taste the habaneros. Just the diced tomatoes. My dad and I used to get that same stuff and mix it with vinegar to make salsa. I probably should have done that. So probably just if I would have made some additional touches to that, it would have been better. But not the best nachos. But for a couple bucks, it was fine. Of course, the Arizona Arnold Palmer was delightful. This stuff was pretty good for a $1.25. This mint chocolate chip ice cream. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really looking forward to eating the other half of those nachos, but I mean, they were okay. As far as the movie goes, Treasure Raiders, I really enjoyed it. I must be getting really easy to please in my older age, but I enjoyed this. This was sort of a mix of genres. This movie's from 2007. It's directed by someone named Brent Huff. Brent Huff, Huff. And I know he's directed a lot of things, and even an actor in some things, but I can't really put my finger on any of them. But this, the funny thing I found while researching this just now is he was a prominent male model in the 80s, like Calvin Klein and cigarette models, which is funny. But anyway, the movie, I enjoyed it a lot. Low budget. I saw it got a really low rating on Internet Movie Database, but most of those people are snobs and jackasses that rate that stuff. I didn't even have anything to drink, any alcohol, and I enjoyed this. Of course, we have David Carradine. He ended up being the bad guy in here, and I always like him as a bad guy. It's cool to see him. He always brings it to these low-budget movies. He brings his acting and his charisma. And then Sherilyn Fenn was in here, too, looking lovely as ever. This has got to be like 15 years at least after Twin Peaks, and she pretty much looked the same. She wasn't really in it much, just sort of like eye candy. She was this guy's girlfriend. So anyway, this movie was like a mixture of like Need for Speed combined with Indiana Jones. It was a street race movie combined with like Uncharted or something. It was a treasure hunting movie that had street racing elements in it and sort of crime drama. It had a lot of fighting and shooting and car chases. And it takes place in Moscow, and it's about the actors in it. I like this big guy. He's kind of like a Russian Arnold Schwarzenegger type guy. He's like 6'6". His name is Alexander Nevsky. I also like Showdown in Manila, which he's in. And then the main guy in it was that actor Stephen Brand, and I know I've seen him in a lot of things, but like the Scorpion King is the only thing I can think of. He was like the bad guy. Anyway, this guy here, Alexander Nevsky, played a character named Wolf, who was a a street racer, and the other the other guy, Stephen Brand, was a college professor. He was like a historic, sort of like an Indiana Jones type character, teaching history in a class in Moscow, like an English speaking class in Moscow, and and the guy, he likes to hunt for treasures, and how he funds that is he street races at night. So he's like a pretty cool professor. Like he wears his jacket and he's good with the ladies, and he's a smart professor. All the women like him, and he goes out and races on the at nighttime, like the street races, and he wins his money that way to fund his archaeological exploration or whatever. And and David Carradine's sort of a historian that's sort of interested in his work, and he comes around and you think he's his friend at first, but he turns out to be the bad guy, of course. There's a lot of different factions in this, a lot of different like there's the drug dealers. There's some there's a doctor that comes from Colombia that's friends with the main guy, and this guy here, his girlfriend is Sherilyn Finn, but his sister, of course, falls in love with the professor. So there's that's like the professor's love interest is this guy's girlfriend. This guy's a street racer that he happens to hold an amulet that he got off of a soldier from the French Foreign Legion that leads to the treasure, whatever, and that's why the professor is after this guy. But he turns out to be a cool guy, and they become friends. This guy, he street races, but in the middle of the street races, he busts up drug deals. Like there was a big drug deal going on, and he busts it up, and he beats them all up, and he takes the money and the drugs, and then his organization is so clean and moral. They go dump the drugs in the river, and they donate the money to medical clinics or whatever. But anyway, so he still wins the race while doing all that. Like in the middle of the race, he breaks off. It's like a street race through the town, sort of like Midnight Club or those video games. There is a lot of racing. Like I give the movie that. They're actually racing through a big town. I don't know if it's Moscow, but it looks like a big, highly populated city that they're racing around. He has a cool, it's either a Trans Am or a Firebird from the 80s. It's pretty cool. Like it looks like Kit. But anyway, so the professor and him become friends, and then the drug dealers, after he messes up their deal, the main drug dealers after him the whole time, trying to get him. And David Carradine's always on their trail, so they end up, the treasure leads them to, they go on a little treasure hunt, like this clue leads to the next or whatever, and all the time David Carradine's after them and his goons. The treasure they're looking for is something that the Knights of the Templar hid somewhere before they were persecuted in the 13th century, whatever. It goes into a lot of history at the beginning, and how this treasure ended up there, and it turned out David Carradine had something to do with that. And I don't want to give it all away. You got to watch it. But it has a lot of fighting, like some bar scene type fighting and car chases, a lot of shooting, really corny, over the top dialogue that kind of seems really weird too because it's overdubbed. It reminds me of like watching a Godzilla movie. Like I think everything's overdubbed. I don't know if it's just their accents were bad or they weren't speaking English, but you can tell it's been overdubbed. And I don't really mind stuff like that. It kind of gives movies charm to me. But it's a nice looking movie. I mean, it has a little plot twist at the end. David Carradine is a bad guy. I like this guy. He's kind of wooden, I guess you'd say, but I don't mind that. It kind of sounds like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I remember everyone used to knock Arnold Schwarzenegger back when I was a kid about, oh, he's not a good actor or whatever. But Arnold Schwarzenegger was never a bad actor. He had great timing and charisma and everything. But I remember a lot of people would make fun of him like he was wooden. This guy kind of seems like someone doing an impersonation of Arnold, but I still like him. Like he's a big, cool hero and with a hot girlfriend, that Sherilyn Finn, and he's a street racer and he beats up dude. Like he's like 6'6", so probably like 350 pounds of muscle. He's just tossing guys all over the place. I found out this guy was actually an amateur boxer, and he had some training with Seagal and Chuck Norris. for a little trivia there. Yeah, so man, what else? I mean, not the best movie ever. I'm glad I watched it. It sort of hinted at a sequel at the end, so I might look that up now. I don't see it here anywhere in any of these other ones. Treasure Raiders 2, unless it's called something else. And then this movie had something against pizza delivery guys. I was a pizza delivery guy when I got out of high school and I was in community college. And this movie has one pizza guy get mugged, and it has another pizza guy's car get blown up in the middle of a car chase. um, and then it had some of that shaky cam, like the frantic camera that goes along around a lot of movies around this time, but it didn't really bother me as much. Most of the time, the camera was still. It just really it's sort of a cheese factor that I enjoyed. What else? Street Racing in Moscow. David Carradine. Um, yeah, love interest. The professor falls in love with this guy's girlfriend or this guy's sister. um, Treasure hunting, all that. It's a fun movie to get at the dollar store. So I'm probably more pleased with this movie than I am with my nachos. So anyway, that's my nice little Dollar Tree evening here alone by myself. My family's over with the in-laws tonight. They went to visit, and I got the house to myself. So nice little time. So I might do this again sometime. I don't know if it was a fun idea to me. I was on a budget. My wife said don't spend a lot this week because I had a small paycheck around Christmas because I took some days off, but I thought I did okay for $10 for being by myself. All right, so I'll talk to you later.
Don't worry, baby. You're safe now.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.